Hi, my name is Alexis Lee, and I'm an Assistant Director for the Office of Transformational Learning. Welcome to our webinar today on serving as a TA online during campus closures. The Office of Transformational Learning exists to support quality instruction and provide innovative learning opportunities for students. And so we wanted to be here to support our teaching assistants during this time of transition. Our agenda for today are to go through some of the available resources that already exist that could be useful to you as a TA. We'll also go through some key reminders, things that you should put into practice as we'll have new ways of working in this virtual space. And finally, we'll move through several different tech demos, going through some Canvas activities, along with showing you how to use Zoom and WebEx. So for resources, make sure that you check University of Maryland's Keep Teaching website. They have really fantastic guides from the instructor perspective. They also offer webinars for teaching assistants, so definitely check out the webinars that they have. And then additionally, feel free to send students to the student resources. If there's an issue that they're having and you're not quite sure how to help them, some of the resources there might be useful. Additionally, OTL has its own website that can be used, and you can either Google OTL Teaching During Campus Closures, or the web link is otl.rhsmith.umd.edu. Key reminders. So as we are in a time of unprecedented transition and change, I would highly recommend that you communicate with your professor clearly and often. It's really important to set mutual expectations and to identify what has changed. So maybe this is elements of the syllabus, key assignments, and that's going to have an impact on the role that you play as a teaching assistant. So maybe previously a large part of your job was to help facilitate discussion in a class session. That might change now, given that perhaps your professor is moving to an asynchronous model where the lectures will be recorded and there will be a online discussion board. So just ensure that you know what expectations your faculty member has in regards to the changes in the course content, the course flow, and how that might impact your role and responsibilities. Make sure you understand how your faculty member plans to communicate with you and with the students. Find out what works best for them in terms of how you can reach them. Perhaps that's a phone call, perhaps that's a text message, perhaps that's one email at the end of the day or at a specified time that the professor has indicated. Find out what sort of netiquette or online etiquette the faculty member has expectations regarding. This is a key area where you might be able to facilitate some of those online discussions. And so any norm setting that you can do at the beginning would be really, really useful. Help faculty think about their student body. You will be in contact, you're probably already in close contact with many of your fellow students, certainly with the student body that you're supporting. And so think about some of the challenges that they might be experiencing. If they have issues with access to technology, so maybe they don't have a reliable internet connection, or maybe they don't have a laptop, DivIT has resources which you can find on OTL's website so that students can request those resources. Students may not necessarily have access to all of their materials if they left them on campus before spring break and then weren't able to retrieve them afterwards. So just thinking about sort of what are the additional accommodations and considerations that students might have. Time zones might be another one. If they are distributed all over the United States and all over the world, that's something to keep in mind for live sessions. The other thing to make sure that you are doing in terms of setting expectations is understanding your own way of working. So you may have additional burdens and responsibilities now, given that you might be in a different time zone, or you have family responsibilities, or you become ill, or a family member becomes ill. Make sure that you are communicating what you can and cannot do to your faculty member. It's incredibly important that you establish a schedule, that you identify potential risks or limitations, and that you communicate those to your professor well in advance. Make sure that you also establish clear expectations in regards to your role with students. So, students may be coming to you more frequently because of the uncertainty, because of the changes. Make sure that once you've clarified your role with the professor, that this is something you also communicate to the student body that you're interacting with. This will help them know whether they should reach out to you or to the faculty member, and it will streamline communication, hopefully, in general. Utilizing rubrics is a fantastic tool for fair and efficient grading. So if grading is a component of your TA-ship, talk to your faculty member about whether or not they have a rubric. If they don't have a rubric, potentially try to draft one based on feedback that professors have given in the past. There's lots of great resources on the OTL website, on the Keep Teaching website, and if you Google for rubrics online, there's many, many resources that you can utilize. Finally, make sure you test the technology that you have as you prepare for these online classes. So test your headset, your microphone, your webcam, making sure that it all works. Remind your students to test it as well. Again, if they don't have some of those items and they're required for the class, they can request them through DivIT. Make sure that you're comfortable with using the platform that the faculty member has identified. So whether that's Canvas, WebEx, Zoom, whatever that might be, make sure that you have some facility in that tool. And then if you are going to be on video, make sure that you choose a backdrop or a place that's not distracting for the students and that has good light, ideally the light being in front of you versus behind you. And of course, if you're able to find a quiet place, that would be optimal. Again, remember that this is a time of unprecedented change and transition. We're all in this together. It won't be perfect. It's new for you, it's new for your professor, it's new for the students. Be patient, be empathetic, take this as an opportunity to learn together and to have fun in this process of figuring things out. As I said before, be clear with your professors about what you can and cannot do. This transition impacts you just as much as it impacts everybody else. And so take a second to figure out how this will impact your daily schedule, your availability, and make that very clear to your professor. Make sure that you ask for help. We, again, are all in this transition together. We're all figuring out it's new. Ask for the assistance that you need. You can go to OTL, reach out to us. If you need any assistance, you can go to a colleague, ask your faculty member. If you find yourself in a position where you've tried to establish boundaries and that's just not working and you need to make some changes, feel free to reach out to Human Resources at Smith as well, and they can assist you with any changes that might need to be made. All right, at this point in our webinar, we're going to switch to do some tech demos. So we will start with a number of Canvas walkthroughs and then demonstrate Zoom and WebEx. Thank you again so much for your participation, and let us know if there are any additional questions we can answer.